Tomorrow by Together, a name that represents 5 members uniting under a single dream to create a better future for themselves and their fans. It was a dream that would soon cross oceans, reaching Japan, where new listeners would become family. This is the story of 5 who carry tomorrow in their name and together in their hearts.
Shining by my side.
To understand TXT's path, you first have to understand Japan, a country that doesn't need K-pop because it already has everything. Its own deep musical legacy, its own exacting standards. For international artists, Japan isn't a market to conquer, it's a culture to honor. And TXT knew that from the start. But understanding that is one thing. Being chosen back is another. Japan has a specific language it speaks, one of authenticity, humility, and emotional honesty. The kind of honesty that can't be manufactured or media trained into existence. Japanese audiences can sense when an artist is performing sincerity versus living it, and they respond not to perfection but to realness. That's what makes Japan so difficult to conquer. You can't force your way in with hype or fame. You have to earn it through truth. And that's exactly what TXT did, song by song. January 2020. 5 months after their Korean debut, TXT released Magic Hour, their first Japanese single album. Its title track was the Japanese version of their song Run Away, alongside Japanese versions of Crown and Angel or Devil. It marked their first official step into Japan's music scene. There was anticipation around their first Japanese album. They were rookies stepping into one of the toughest music markets in the world. In a country that had seen waves of K-pop acts come and go, what could make these 5 stand out? After Magic Hour, TXT returned that August with Drama, a second Japanese single that continued the momentum and proved their growing ease with Japan's sound and culture. The single album included Japanese versions of their Korean songs, as well as their first original Japanese song, Everlasting Shine. This track was their first true message written for Japan. Some describes it as an uplifting song with heavenly vocals. Its lyrics spoke about resilience, light, and continuing forward no matter the distance. For Japanese listeners, that message hit home. Drama peaked at number 3 on the Japanese Oricon singles chart, and it helped TXT cross the invisible line from being newcomers performing in Japanese to artists who understood Japan's audiences. This was the moment Japanese fans started to see TXT not as guests, but as voices they could trust and lean on. Artists who sang for them, not at them. And then TXT kept moving, releasing new Korean songs, collecting awards, and growing in their home scene. Behind closed doors, they kept practicing, learning, writing, because promises made quietly are the ones that hold, and TXT had one to keep. A promise to Japan to keep showing up with sincerity, to connect through music no matter the distance, and to let every song deepen that bond. By January 2021, while the world was still learning to exist through screens, TXT released Still Dreaming, their first Japanese mini album. With multiple Japanese versions of their songs, the original Japanese track Force was the strongest introduction. It captured the fight to stay hopeful in uncertain times. The song's theme of inner strength resonated deeply with Japanese listeners who valued perseverance through quiet hardship. That same year, TXT was entrusted with the opening theme for World Trigger. In Japan, anime is sacred ground, and Force was written specifically for the series. It's a sign of trust, because it shows that the creators believed TXT could translate the anime's world into sound, representing emotion, story, and imagination for millions who grew up with anime. In November of the same year, TXT released their Japanese EP, Chaotic Wonderland, which included Japanese versions of Love Song and MOA Diary, along with their original Japanese song, Ito. The word means thread in Japanese, a single strand connecting two souls. Its lyrics told a story of fate and connection, mirroring the invisible bond growing between TXT and Japan. Fans loves the winter Christmas feel it has, and how it feels like a warm hug. The project showed how deeply TXT understood Japan's taste for emotional storytelling. Each track offered a new side of their artistry, the passion of Love Song, the intimacy of MOA Diary, and the quiet fate of Ito. For every Japanese release, they wrote for Japanese audiences. They understood something essential. Japanese audiences don't just listen to pronunciation, they listen to intention. And Japan heard it. In every careful syllable, in every cultural reference woven naturally into their music. When TXT sang about promises, Japanese fans didn't hear a foreign concept. They heard omoi, which means cherished feelings. Japanese fans began to see themselves in TXT's growth. The members learning Japanese mirrored their own struggles with English, with adulthood, with finding their voice. It felt like a parallel journey between the artists and the audiences. When TXT succeeded, it felt like their success too. And anytime TXT returned to Japan, it felt like friends coming home. This is what Japan recognizes, what it rewards. Not talent alone, but kokoro, which means heart. On August 2022, Good Boy Gone Bad arrived in its Japanese form. Not just the title track, but with two original Japanese songs, Ring and Hitori no Yoru. These single communicates feelings, the particular ache of growing up that resonates so deeply in Japanese coming-of-age stories. Ring explored love from the perspective of watching someone else be loved, a melancholy maturity that Japanese storytelling knows well. Hitori no Yoru, which translates to a night alone, spoke to solitude without making it tragic, has made their fans tears up. To support the EP, TXT brought their world tour Act Lovesick to Japan in September, performing in Osaka and Chiba. It was their first large-scale return to Japanese stages since the pandemic. Fans who had only seen them through screens were finally able to feel their energy in person again, and the emotional connection deepened. This was the moment Japan stopped seeing them as guests and started seeing them as theirs. The media began calling them majime. It means earnest, diligent, taking things seriously without pretense. It's a compliment reserved for those who show up consistently, who honor their commitments, who don't cut corners. For Japan to call TXT majime was acceptance into a cultural value system. It meant, you are one of us now. And with trust now firmly earned, their next chapter wouldn't be about proving themselves, but about deepening the connection they had built. This is where the echoes begin. June 2023. Before their second Japanese album dropped, TXT released Hydrangea Love, a song that bloomed softly through Japan's rainy season. Serving as the OST for the Japanese drama Saiko no Seito, it expressed a gentle, changing, and enduring love, much like hydrangeas that shift color depending on the soil's chemistry. It was a perfect metaphor for TXT's evolving relationship with Japan, growing, adapting, and always finding new shades of connection. A month later, TXT released Sweet, their second full Japanese album. The project carried a dual meaning, sweet in sound and sweeter in significance. The Japanese version of Sugar Rush Ride captured the chaos and thrill of youth through a lens that felt distinctly Japanese. TXT became the first foreign artist to achieve 8 consecutive #1 albums on Oricon, and Sweet was certified double platinum. But the numbers, as always, only told half the story. Immediately after, they embarked on their Act Sweet Myriage Japan tour, performing in Osaka, Tokyo, and Nagoya. And it felt like a reunion. Each city sang back louder than the last, proof that TXT's music had found a second home. The echo had begun. What TXT gave to Japan, Japan was giving back. Louder, deeper, endless. The echoes from Sweet hadn't faded, because as 2024 began, TXT's connection with Japan had become something quieter but stronger. The rush of proving themselves turned into the calm of trust. The next step wasn't about chasing momentum, but about honoring it, turning gratitude into renewed purpose. Chikai, which means the vow, arrived as their fourth Japanese single in July 2024. It featured the Japanese version of Deja Vu and two original songs, Will Never Change and Kito Zuto. Each track carried the theme of devotion and emotional permanence, speaking directly to the promise they'd been keeping since their debut. The title said it all. Not another release, but a renewal of vows. The lyrics of Will Never Change echoed the steady warmth of loyalty, while Kito Zuto painted quiet, unwavering affection. Together, they symbolized what TXT's story in Japan had become: less about proving, more about remembering. By now, TXT's story in Japan had shifted beyond discography or charts. What began as a series of releases had evolved into a genuine bond, a constant dialogue between artist and audience. In October 2025, TXT released Starkissed, their third full Japanese album. The title itself carries meaning layered in poetry. Starkissed, blessed by stars, touched by something celestial, something faded. Starkissed continues TXT's tradition of intertwining emotion and storytelling, but with a maturity that feels earned. New tracks like Can't Stop, Where Do You Go, SSS, Step by Step, and Rise. Each track ties back to what TXT have always sung about: outh, love, and perseverance. But this time, those stories belong to Japan too. This isn't the peak of their Japanese releases, but the deepening, because what TXT and Japan have built together, step after step, year after year, they keep moving in sync, walking the same road that never really ends. 6 years. From Magic Hour to Starkissed. The transformation wasn't dramatic. There was no viral moment, no explosive breakthrough. Just 1,000 quiet choices to keep showing up. That's what makes TXT's story in Japan different. When Japanese fans talk about TXT, they don't list achievements. They talk about how they felt seen. About concerts where members cried from gratitude, not exhaustion. About how TXT remembered their stories, their inside jokes, their history together. The media called them earnest idols. Fans call them ours. Both mean the same thing. It's where TXT belongs. Their story won't end with Starkissed. It will continues. TXT dared to be bold. Will you?